Hey, guys. Oh my goodness. We are back in the building. And I am so excited that we are back here now. We got some new things happening. I got a new setup, all the things. I even have a mic. Look, you see it? You see the mic? So listen, we are doing some big things. But before I get into all of that, let me actually introduce myself. Hey, y'all. This is the Intentional Living Podcast with SonjaW, and I am back to assist you with starting off your week with a little less chaos. During these 20 minutes together, we'll break down a win. We'll get your mindset right. We'll manage your week, and we'll learn how to manage the week so that you can be intentional with your yeses and with your no's. So now let's get into it. So you see, I had this little new intro. I'm going to have to try and do that a little bit more. But I am so excited to be back. I started intentional mornings with SonjaW last year just on a whim, just to see what it would be like. And I'm now back again in February trying to see, okay, let's do something a little bit different. If you notice, it's named a little bit differently now. It's called Intentional Living with SonjaW because that's really what it is. It's all about living intentionally throughout your day, not just the mornings. Okay. So I am so excited that each one of you guys are here today. We gonna get right into it. But also, first of all, I want to see where the people at. Are they coming in? Are they coming in? I'm about to pull out my phone. Listen. I am super excited. But the whole point to this is that we have an opportunity to get together to figure out what our week is going to give us because we're going to define that week. Okay. So as I'm coming back, I'm super excited because I'm going to be dropping this on Spotify and just getting this thing out there to people because you know what? I think it's super important. Good morning, Ashley. How are you? Oh, I'm so excited that you guys are here. So, yes, I hope you can hear me. Can you hear me good? Do I sound good? Because, you know, I got me a little mic now. I want to make sure that I sound good, you know? But yeah, so listen, we're gonna get in and get out, okay? And I wanted to kind of remind you guys of what we do here. It's gonna be 20 minutes. We're going to figure out, oh yes, you can hear me. Thank you. We're gonna figure out what's on the docket, what's gonna happen for this week, what do we have planned for the week. Then we're gonna talk about one good thing that happened last week, because they're so important. Mindset is so important. And when you take your mind off of things, when you take your mind and place it on the things that were good, when you're thankful, when you begin to think about all that is good that happened to you, then it begins to change your mindset. It allows you to be more free in being able to dream and think forward for the week. Okay. And then after that, we're going to knock into a quick intentional topic of the week, because the whole point to us being here is that we're learning how to be more intentional with our lives, right? So we're going to talk about that. And actually today I'm going to talk a little bit more about my why. Why did I even start this thing? How did I get here? Because I figured this would be a great way to start off this new season of intentional living. I think that I want to share with you guys how I got here, what was so important about being intentional in my life, right? And then we're going to end off with a prayer, because if you know me, then you know I'm also somebody who loves God and loves the power of prayer. And I believe that as we pray together, we're going to see God move in our lives. All right. So let's get into it. Okay. I'm so excited to be back. I actually missed you guys. By the way, do you see how clear I am? I don't know if you've been following me for a while, but I got a camera. It was working great. And then there was an update to my computer that shut down all of the good stuff. And like I had to use the computer's camera. But we're glad that we're back. Okay. Now let's get Let's get into this stuff. So, what is on the docket? So, what's on the docket for me today is a couple of things. Okay. So, for this week, I'm finishing up all the details and the background stuff for launching this podcast since I'm making this a real thing now. So I got some little details that I need to do, finish up the description, kind of finalize what the trailer is going to look like, post this episode to my channel. And then I'm also going to be kind of writing up some more of the emails that I send to my email list every week. If you're interested, definitely hop on to my website, or actually click the links below in the description. If you're looking at this in YouTube or Facebook, there's links right down there so that you can get signed up for the email list. But kind of finalizing what I'm going to be doing with that. I actually got a lot going on this week. And then I also, I'm part of a church that has small groups, and me and one of my friends are going to be doing a small group this season, and we're super excited about it. So we're like finalizing all the details on that. Oh, and I have a hair appointment. We're going to get this head top together. I'm excited. So I have a lot going on this week. How about y'all? What do y'all have going on this week? Drop it in the comments if you're with me live. I would love to see what you got. What's going on with you? So definitely let me know what's on the docket for you in your life today. All right. Now, for my one good thing, while you're writing up what's on the docket for you, tell me your one good thing. Tell me what's good that happened to you last week. Because remember, as we reflect on last week, as we reflect on what was before, then we can really go forward and see what is to come a little bit more clearly. Okay. So, one good thing for me. Okay. So actually, I'll be honest, I have two good things. One good thing for me is that I'm back. I'm back online. I'm back to my YouTube channel. I'm back to recording and writing and all that kind of stuff. I missed you guys so much. But I had taken a hiatus for the month of January, kind of in line with my kind of in line with my church's fasting. We fast in the beginning of every year, and I just felt like I was led to stop everything. So I didn't do any writing, I didn't do any recording, I didn't do anything in January. All I did was pray, listen to God. I did go to work because I still had to work. But like that's really all that I did. And then so being back now is really exciting because I'm really excited about all that is to come in this new year. Like I got some things planned. So I'm excited. I can't talk about all of it yet. I can't. Sorry. But I got some big things planned and I'm super excited about it. And then my other good thing is that I got to babysit my niece and nephew. It was the highlight of my week. I love babysitting my niece and nephew because it's so cool hearing how 5 and 3-year-olds think. Like it's hilarious to me. But I tell you, they're smarter than us, okay? They are smarter than us. And I love that Ashley, her good thing is that she came home from the hospital and she had her first closing of the year. Oh my gosh. Kudos to you. You know, I think I'm going to upgrade with like sounds. You know how all the cool people with podcasts have all the crazy sounds and stuff? We're going to do that. We're going to get there. We're going to get there. But anyway, that's super exciting, Ashley. I'm so glad that you've had all of this good happen for you. So listen, I don't know about y'all, but when I start to think about all the good things that happen, it makes me feel a little bit more confident about what my next week is going to be like. So I encourage you to do the same thing. If you just here listening to me and you're not writing down good things, make sure that you're writing a couple of the good things that happen to you. There's actually science behind that. And I've talked about this on my YouTube channel, but people who take time to be thankful, to like write down in a gratitude journal or whatever like that, there's data that shows that increases your stamina, your resilience, your ability to bounce back, which is resilience. But all of that is so important. So I don't just say it because I feel like, I don't even know, but I don't just say it just to say it. I say it because one, I know it to be true. And two, there's science that backs it up. Okay. So, all right, now we're going to get into the topic of the day. Okay, so every time, every week, and every time we come together, I love to just talk a little bit about an intentional topic of the week. So something to help you build your ability to be intentional with your life. And since this is the first time back, I wanted to talk a little bit about my why, because I think understanding your why is so important. So I wanted to share with you guys, well, why in the world did I even start this podcast? Why in the world do I have this whole idea of intentional living? And I'm telling people that you got to be intentional with your time. So I just wanted to break down a little bit of why. So it's so funny. Like, I first started this journey of intentionality, and I didn't even really know that this was going to be a journey. Like, I remember being like late 20s. I actually was part of launching a church, best church ever, still there. And I remember just being so busy. Like, we were doing so much, and it was all welcomed, everything that I wanted to do, right? And then on top of that, I just graduated. I think I just graduated with my master's, got my first real big person job, adult job. So I'm like taking on projects and feeling like almost like I wasn't supposed to be there, that imposter syndrome. And what else was I doing at that time? Then I was in debt. I still had my grad school debt that I was dealing with. I was just not healthy in how I lived how I ate, how I did all those things. And I felt tired. I felt stretched. I felt just overwhelmed. Like I said, I was in debt. I was running ragged, serving in church. Now I know that's like, what? You actually said that out loud? That you were running ragged in church? Like, you were stressed and tired serving? Isn't that what you're supposed to do? Like, you're supposed to serve? I was working all type of hours, just, and not even because I needed to, not because I was in an environment where that was the culture, because matter of fact, that is not the culture at my job. But I felt like I had to do more. And I realized I was doing all types of things, like all good things, like all of it good. But I wasn't doing it because it was from my heart, or I wasn't doing it because I felt like I was fully called to it, right? Like, yes, I was called to serve. Yes, I was called to do the work that I was doing, but it wasn't based on anything more than my obligation. I was firstborn, or I am firstborn, also first generation immigrant. And I, that whole first thing, you got to be perfect, you got to be on top of everything, right? That was permeating throughout my whole entire life. And I was tired. I felt like I was doing all the things, but yet still not happy, still not really feeling like I was fulfilling anything. And I began to really, one, seek God, like, Lord, like, I'm doing all this good, but I don't feel good. Like, I'm doing all this good, but I feel stressed. I feel anxiety. And I began to realize a couple of things. I realized as I learned a little bit more about God, and as I learned a little bit more about myself, I learned that I felt like I had to prove who I was, or prove my worthiness, right? And I realized that that's not what God desires for any of us. And then I started reading different books about learning how to live by your values, how to live by what's important in your life, and figuring out what you were made to do, how God made you. And I began to see like the patterns in my own life, and began to see that there is so much more. I'm going to my notes because I want to make sure I don't miss nothing. But as I was reading more about purpose, and reading more and understanding what purpose truly is, I realized that I was living outside of that. I realized that I was not living on purpose, and I was not living by my values. And I realized that living by your values is super important. So I began to shift, right? I began to study the word. I began to study different awesome productivity folks. And I realized through trial and error, through learning, through understanding about focus, to learning about what God says about finances, what God says about living on principle and living by your values, that there was a couple of things that I actually learned from that. Okay. And I want to share these with you. And we'll continue to unpack these different things. You'll see, if you don't follow me already on YouTube, you'll see I have over 300 videos all about different aspects of intentional living. And I talk about that all throughout that. But on this podcast, in these quick 10-minute times I have with you, or 20-minute times that I have with you, I'll be breaking down little things like this. But let me give you the 5 things that I learned on this journey. So 1, purpose. Purpose is not something that's to be found. I actually talk about this in my devotional that I wrote almost 2 years ago. Or is it 3 years now? Listen, I wrote a devotional, okay? Anyway, if you want it, link below. Anyway, but I realized that purpose is not found. Your purpose is actually already found. Your purpose is to give God glory. And the gifts, the tendencies, the quirks, the things that you like to do all point towards how you're going to do it. I was just talking to an old mentee of mine when she was talking about how she's trying to find her purpose and her position and all that kind of stuff. And I had to stop her and let her know that, hey, your purpose is to glorify God. And the way that God made you gives you clues on how it's going to happen. So for instance, for me, I love helping people get to their next step. I love helping people understand that they have a greater purpose. I love helping people get connected and organize their lives around their values, organize their lives with systems to kind of push them forward into the things that they've been called to do. And I realize that I do that now in everything that I do, right? I talked about how I was working in an intense job, working in well, it's intense, but the culture is awesome. Working hard in church, trying to live, trying to have this business. Well, back then I didn't have the business, but all of these things, I'm still doing all of those things. But the difference now is that I'm living by my values. I have the boundaries that I need, and I'm seeing understanding how to navigate and say no when I need to. So I think it's just so important to understand that your purpose is to glorify God. The second thing, oh no, we're almost at 20, so I'm gonna move quick. The second thing is to live intentionally. And how to do that is to acknowledge your gifts and the dreams that God has placed on your heart, building your life around your principles, your values, building systems to execute, and then practicing those systems. That's how you can live intentionally. And I'm going to talk about that. I call it the stairwell to intentional living. And I'm actually going to talk about that throughout the next couple of weeks and stuff like that. And then your time on this earth is precious and finite. So you have to focus in and begin to know that your dream is meant to impact. And you're going to see that as you become more intentional with the time that you have. Matter of fact, one of my favorite verses, and you can't really see it, but it's here. I probably try to change my camera angle so you can see it, but it's Psalm 90:12. And it says to teach us how to use all the time that we have wisely, right? And it's not David, but somebody in the Bible is asking the Lord to teach him how to use his time wisely. And earlier in that psalm, the psalmist says that we only have like 70 years, possibly 80. So teach me how to use my time wisely. And then the fourth one is that we are most fulfilled when we know our why and we build our lives around walking that why out daily. And then finally, the journey is worth it. The journey for me was messy. Matter of fact, I'm still journeying, and I think I'm going to continue to journey through understanding what my why really entails until I die. And I actually believe the same for you. but the journey is worth it. So I encourage you to take the time to figure it out. Take the time to ask God, why? Who am I? What did you place in me? And how can I glorify God in that? How can I glorify you in that? Okay. And then, and that's it. Those are the 5. Okay. So I was a chatty Cathy today. We going to hit right at 20 minutes. But I'm just saying this to you right now, that if you're someone who feels like you are spread too thin, you're overwhelmed with all that you do, we're going to have some fun together. We are. We're going to set up our weeks to win, and we're going to have fun while doing it. So I encourage you, follow me on YouTube. Get on my email list. We're going to be talking more about this as the weeks come. And man, I'm excited to be on this podcast journey with y'all. All right. So as usual, I'm going to pray us out. And listen, I'm sorry, we are at 20 minutes, so we're going to pray quick. Okay. But like I mentioned at the top of this 20-minute time, I have this Dreamboost prayer that we're going to pray together so that we can start our week off well. Okay, so let's pray. Oh Lord, I thank you that you've placed dreams and desires in our hearts. Teach us, show us how to live our lives to see those dreams come to pass. Teach us how to use our time wisely and with intentionality. All right, y'all. Till next week, I hope that y'all rock this week out. Take some time to organize your week so that you can get it going. See y'all next week.